Okay, how's everybody doing? I'm going to explain where morality came from, how was it created, and I'm going to explain spirituality. I'm going to break down consciousness one more time, right? Consciousness is the merging and fusion or the harmonization of the body and the mind. It is the ability to direct movement. It is the engine to control movement. Consciousness is the awareness of the self in relationship to the environment all around us in order to interact with ourselves and our environment. You see, in order to interact with our environments, we need to move, right? So consciousness is the engine of movement. There is a right way to move and there is a wrong way to move. This is choice. Thus, free will is a feature of consciousness. Spirituality now. If you look up the etymology of spirit, right? Look it up. Spirit means breath, your breath. It means life itself. And if you go to the Bantu people, the Zulus, right? They call it umoya. Umoya is your breath. It is life itself. You have a mind and you have a body. Your consciousness cannot be awakened until you breathe the breath of life. I'm going to explain this again. Consciousness is the merger of the mind and the body, right? You cannot be conscious if you do not have your breath, if you do not have life within you. So you can see spirit is what animates the body to become alive. When a baby is born, the doctor has to force the baby to breathe. The baby starts crying so that way the air gets inside the baby's lungs to activate the consciousness so that way the baby can become alive. Without that breath, without that spirit, without this life force, that baby's unconscious, that baby is dead. Understand this, right? So, spirit is breath. It means life force itself, this life. A spiritual person, right, is a person that knows how to breathe. It's a person that knows how to live, right? So spirituality now is the art of breathing. It's the art of living. And because living is an art, there is a right way to live and there is a wrong way to live. Because you have consciousness, that's the engine of movement itself, right? Consciousness is what makes you alive, right? There's a wrong way to move and there's a right way to move. This is where morality came into being. Because morality is our sense of right and wrong. You see that? It's all links together. Everything links together as a... You got to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Consciousness, spirit, free will, morality are all interconnected in this world. We cannot separate these different concepts together. They all work together. Now, everybody wants the same things in life. Everybody. We want to live a good life, right? We want to have sex. We want food, right? We want these basic things. The question is, how are you going to get it? Your desires may not be bad. The question is, how are you going to get it? You can desire food. Everybody wants food. How are you going to get it? Are you going to steal? Are you going to pay for your food? Or are you going to cook it? Or are you going to hunt for your food? These are the choices you have, right? Everybody wants sex, right? It's a natural part of us. How are you going to get it? Are you going to deceive your way into getting sex? Or are you going to pay for sex? Or are you going to have sex outside of wedlock? Or are you going to have sex within the marriage? How are you going to get it? You see, these are the choices we all have. Everybody faces these choices. And depending on what you do will determine if you are a good individual or a bad individual. If you bring imbalance or you bring balance. If you bring harmony or disharmony. Consciousness, how are you going to move? How are you moving? Are you going to move correctly or incorrectly? Spirituality, how are you going to live? Are you going to live the right way or are you going to live the wrong way? You may have desires, but if it hurts other people, if it causes suffering for other people, if it brings suffering to yourself, you've created an imbalance within you. That's all evil is. If you don't like the word evil, replace it with imbalance. All right? For instance, when you become obese, you have a heart attack. That's an imbalance. When you have, high blood pressure, when you can't breathe, you can't move correctly, right? Because you're too obese, right? That's an imbalance. In order to correct this imbalance, you have to take action. You got to move properly. You got to live properly in order to correct the imbalance, in order to get balance. How are you going to move? How are you going to live? How are you going to, this is the question here that determines whether you are a threat to society or a benefit to society. This is how morality works. So, as you can see, all the pieces are brought together so we can have a full understanding. Life is a game of choices. Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful. How are you going to live? This is the question everybody has to ask themselves. Are you going to work in cooperation with your community or in competition with your community? Are you going to live in a dignified way? Or are you going to live as a malignant force? How are you going to live? That's the question. That's the question. So I hope I made things simple for everybody. Just go look up the etymology of spirit. People keep denying the spirit all the time. I'm telling you, spirit is life itself. This breath, this is spirit. This life force, the reason why you're alive is because of life. That's the spirit. Go look up the etymology. Don't believe me. Look up the etymology of spirit. Look up these words. Everybody has it. Everybody has, whether you are Igbo, you call it chi. It don't matter. It don't matter. That's what spirit is. So please like this video, subscribe to this video, pass on this video. Everything works together because this life is interconnected.